Now, my next guest is no stranger to this programme. She was in just a few weeks ago when she returned from Bangladesh. She's known on Twitter.com as Mummy Tips. I know her perhaps as well as Sian To from Market Harborough. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tony.
And you just come back from New York.
Yeah, I'm fresh from New York.
Addressing the UN.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah, you know, first in Bangladesh and then off to New York. But Save the Children, then on my return from Bangladesh, asked me to go to the UN summit with them to report back on everything that was happening there as a blogger, which went down really, really well.
And you say it went down well. It must have been quite scary for you to do that, I guess, because you're not used to doing this sort of thing, are you?
No, not at all. But it was quite funny actually, because everyone from Save the Children, they were quite flappy around me interviewing politicians, and I was like, look, it's fine.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, before I went in to interview Nick Clegg, everyone was buzzing around going, oh, what are you going to ask him? Oh, how are you going to do?
Yeah, we get it just the same here. We're the BBC, for God's sake. You know, for God's sake, just chill out. Let us do our job, please.
Yeah, so it was good. So I got to speak to Nick Clegg, and I was the only blogger that was allowed into the meeting. There was lots of other charities that were trying to get other bloggers in there, but it was no. And Nick Clegg made a beeline for me and spoke to me, and yeah, it was brilliant. He was very good. He was. I believed him.
Really?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what sort of questions did you ask him?
Well, I asked him how he felt as a father to know that 9 million children were needlessly dying.
Good question.
So I chose not to
get out of
take the political angle, but more the
personal.
Yeah, the personal angle. And yeah, it got a great response. He said he was gutted, which, you know, good. He should be gutted. But what are they going to do about it to make sure that 9 million children stop dying?
Be the natural follow-up question to that, of course.
Well, they've just announced that they were going to up the UK funding. So, you know, they've promised that they're going to do that. Now, the other governments have to promise too. And the UK government have got to put pressure on the other nations like France, who have reduced their funding. Because, you know, one government can't do it on their own. They all have to pull together to be able to stop all these children dying.
So you're convinced that something is going to make a difference as a result of the trip that you undertook to Bangladesh? Are you convinced of that?
Yeah, I mean, even from the point of view of the awareness that we've raised around the campaign, we pulled together 68,000 thumbprint signatures for Save the Children. We've pulled together a lot of media, and we've done TV. I was on ITN News last week as well. I've been here a few times. I've been on BBC Northampton a few times. Some of the girls have done BBC Radio 5. You know, we've had a lot of awareness around what we've been doing. So even that is positive. You know, for people to now know that there's all these children dying, number one, and number two, that they can be very easily stopped from dying by educating women in the villages to do just basic healthcare techniques that don't cost a lot of money to teach, but then, you know, the children are healthier, the women are uplifted, because a lot of the women aren't allowed out. They have to stay in their houses. They can't do anything that their husbands don't say that they can't do. So to give them education is the best thing for them, and it makes so much difference to all the villagers.
You know, I sense talking to you, and this is only the second time that we've met, Sian, that this has become something of a life-changing experience for you personally.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I wasn't a campaigner at all before I went to Bangladesh, and, you know, I suppose I was very naive. I didn't know that all of this happened. I didn't know that people lived without electricity and without toilets. I mean, of course you know that, but seeing it with your own eyes is a completely different thing. And then when I came back, I read a book by a New York Times journalist called Nicholas Kristof. The book's called Half the Sky, and I implore everybody to go out and buy it. It's an amazing book. And it's about the struggle of women all around the world. And some of the things that I read in that book, you know, I just wouldn't even have believed happened. And once you've read that, and you've also seen the way that people are living, it has to change your life. You can't go on as you did before, because now I know that all that happens.
It's all right, mobile phone goes off. Was that a tweet?
I thought I did switch it off before we went on there. I'm very professional.
Guess it was live radio, folks.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So it has completely changed my outlook on life. You know, I can't go on with my head down pretending that all this isn't happening anymore. And there's so many little ways that you can help. You know, even by spending a couple of dollars to sponsor a family, you know, a couple of dollars changes a family's life. It allows them to go and buy a cow and be self-sufficient and sell milk and sell produce. And something that is so flippant to us, you know, the price of a couple of newspapers.
What do you say to people, though, that hang on a sec, you know, charity begins at home. We got enough of our own problems here without worrying about third world countries.
Yeah, but, you know, you can go on thinking like that, but by helping other people, it also gives you a better feeling about yourself. And, you know, I suppose I have had my head down and been selfish before, but not now. You know, those people in Bangladesh and the Congo and all the other third world countries, they didn't choose to be born into that poverty. You know, they didn't choose that life for themselves. That's just where they were born. That's what they were born into. And I think we really don't realise how lucky we are to be born here in the UK or in France or in America, because we've got so much. Even though we think we might have it bad and we might be a bit poor, you know, we've still got houses, we've still got a roof over our head, we still can choose what we want to eat when we open our fridge every day. You know, they don't have any of that. So, you know, just to give a little bit of what you've got to somebody else, you know, it makes complete sense. So
what next for you, Sian To?
Oh, well, my husband's off to Paris Fashion Week tomorrow, so...
What does he do, by
He's
the way?
a designer.
Is he really?
And, yeah, he's off to Paris Fashion Week. And so I'm flying solo with the children. It's my comeback for being away for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's head down, back to being a mum.
Okay. Well, look, it's been a delight, as always, to talk to you.
You're
Thanks very much indeed for everything that you've been doing. Anybody who wants to do something, if they've been listening to your words and have been inspired by what you've had to say,
then go to my blog. I wrote a piece that went live last week about ways that you can help. There's some links to some websites that you can go to, that you can find projects that inspire you, that you can link to. There's all kinds of different ways that you can sponsor people, that you can donate to charity. And there's quite a lot of links on my site, and that's www.mummy-tips.com.
Okay, and she's known as Mummy Tips at Twitter.com.
Thanks.
Lovely to see you. Thank you so much indeed. It's BBC Radio Leicester with me, Tony Wadsworth.